Hi, February 2nd. How are you feeling about February? I like February. I don't know. I feel like I'm looking for something to grasp onto, like not a holiday necessarily like Valentine's Day, but just like, oh, spring is coming, or, just anything like that. So February made me really happy when I saw February 1st on my calendar. Haley's birthday's tomorrow. Haley, how old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 28.
28. I had no idea how old you were, so I had to ask. Are you doing anything good?
Yeah, I'm not doing SHIT.
Yes. I love that.
And I'm eating sushi, so.
Good stuff. I'm allergic to fish. I love sushi, but I know it's not the same as everyone else. Yeah, I feel the team's momentum too, Amanda. It's just, I don't know, it feels good to just even have barely survived going into this like new era and new world. And it's, sorry, I'm reading comments. It just feels good. And I started getting back into connecting and inviting and providing value and doing this stuff. So everything feels good. This morning I listened to Brendon Burchard's podcast, and I don't know, it was just like such perfect timing for me. I'll tell you guys what episode I listened to if you guys feel like, oh, I don't know what PD I want to listen to today. I listened to episode 126 today, and he talked about the 3 beliefs to achieve high performance. And I don't know, Brendon just fills my cup all the time, and it's short, it's sweet, to the point, and it was good. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. One of the things I'm trying to do, just to kind of start the conversation here, I don't have any agenda today, but to kind of go back to sharing with people the things that I'm learning about mindset or something positive, something that influenced my day, because I got so far away from even being able to think about positive mindset or positive living. So that's kind of where I'm focused at right now, is like, how can I get online and share some tools and resources with people about what I'm doing? Because that's, I feel like, what people used to come to me for, or that's what they look forward to hearing on my page. So yes, episode 126, and the name of his podcast is The Brendon Show. But if you just search Brendon Burchard and podcast, it will come up. It was good. How are we feeling? Oh, I have a request, I guess. I totally jacked up my Team Cup registration. I didn't count myself as a star diamond, and we had 2 other girls that were diamonds. I don't know what I was thinking. Apparently I wasn't. So my team is in need of a little bit of help. I don't know if you guys know of non-lifetime diamond coaches. We just are looking for people to kind of fix our broken team that I messed up. I feel terrible. So yeah. And what's weird is I talked to a coach, Kelsey, and I was like, oh, she's a star diamond, so I can't do it with her. And I knew it. Like, I registered knowing that you can't have more than 2 diamonds, but I don't know. I was just excited to register. So if anyone needs a team cup, you can either comment below or message me later, or if you know of someone. The cool thing about doing Team Cup, and really all it is just putting your best foot forward, like shooting for a success club, shooting for helping people get started, like whatever your goals may be. I really just am here to show up with people and have a good time and, stretch our comfort zones. But you do get 3 $10 off promo codes to hand out to people. And I just feel like that's such a great incentive with the challenge packs that we already have on sale. So if you know anyone who needs a team, I have until Friday to help fix our team. And maybe you missed the registration deadline. It's your chance. What do you guys want to talk about? I promised myself I wouldn't come on here with an agenda. That's like my goal.
I wanted to say something real quick about free groups.
Oh yes, please do.
I know Genevieve and Robin are going to be running a free group. Yeah, I just saw somebody pop up about the diamond. There is the Diamond Dash too. So there's a lot going on for February. and me and Marina are going to be running a free group too. But I just think it's really important to just reiterate that, because off of Colleen's post a couple weeks ago, or it feels like weeks ago, maybe it was last week. It seems like forever ago.
I think, yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
I think it was last week, but Kate Schultz posted about how, just again reiterating what Colleen said too, everybody's kind of in the same boat. Like inviting and connecting is looking a little bit different these days via social media. And Kate was saying what was working with free groups and how her team is just getting together and a bunch of people coming together in a free group and kind of sharing their skills and resources. And Colleen gave an example, like, you know, if somebody's like a wicked foodie and then somebody's like really good with morning routine, and it's like Captain Planet, you know, with our forces combined, you can make like a really awesome free group. So me and Marina, and I've never worked with Marina before either in a free group, so I am going to like challenge you guys to like expand out, because typically I find like I navigate towards like the same human beings when I do a group or that I work with. So I know me, Genevieve, and Marina, we're talking about possibly doing a free group next month. And so just like get out there. I did say I said Captain Planet. So just get out there and kind of figure out like who feels good for you, and like how you guys can kind of combine forces. And me and Marina had met up this weekend with Jenny, and just the vibe, you know, everybody's vibe is similar, and what you bring to the table can just bounce off of one another. So me and Marina got on a call really quickly last night, and it's like just brain dumped. It literally took us 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Like, don't overthink it. Just a quick 7-day group, like how you can be a resource. Ours is about breaking the cycle. Basically, tools, tips, everything really people need right now to kind of let go of what's no longer serving them, step into their authentic self, their best feels, and how to do that with tangible tools and tips that we've gained along the way. We are going to be touching upon, you know, Beachbody, the free workouts, the meditation studios. So we are intertwining that in, but it's not a full Beachbody focused group. It's something outside of Beachbody that people really need right now. And that's self-care, controlling the controllable. A lot of people are anxious right now. Can we gain some resources with, you know, we're going to be talking about tapping and just different outlets to gain relief for everybody to kind of go into February with a plan. So don't overthink it. If you're like, oh my God, I have to do a free group, like 7 days worth of content. Like we literally just like got on a call, bounced back and forth, like real simple, like day one, do an intro, who you are, why are you here? What's the focus of the group? So that's basically like our day one. And then we just kind of go into the purpose of the group. And this is how we got started, and the experiences and tools and things that we've learned along the way. So I did just want to encourage you guys to do that, because I know it can feel almost like another thing to do, but it's like, just keep it super simple. Like and you can even just, I feel like Beachbody has, you know, you could do like a clean week group if you want to keep it simple and just go off of one of their guides or something. But I just think it's really important, because I know with Team Cup, and Carl's focus this month too was family focus. So I think especially with going into almost a year of like virtual learning and the kids at home and people working from home, it's just really an awesome focus for us to pour into ourselves with that self-care, making us a priority, but also reiterating it back that you're your best you for your family and your loved ones. So
I'm glad you guys wanted to talk about free groups, because I actually was like thinking about that this morning. So thanks for kicking that off, Janelle.
How's your coach tryout group going? I'm really interested in that. I really want to hop into one of those with Brittany this month.
Yeah, we were talking about that too this weekend. I was like, I would love to get in on Colleen's free coach group and see what she's doing in there.
So I feel great about it, but as far as like engagement or people like doing what we're supposed to be doing, I feel like they're literally interested in coaching, but they don't really want to coach yet. So I'm kind of like in the grooming stage still, but I think I'm doing a great job. Here's kind of what I'm doing with the coach tryout. I really wanted to challenge myself with email marketing, because I feel like, because not everyone's on social media, or they don't know or understand notifications and tags, or people are just not on it like we are all the time. So I'm also sending out an email every day with a little bit of a recap, kind of giving them some FOMO to go hop into the group. And then I'm also having like one-on-one conversations. And my goal was to have 5 interested people, and I have 6. So I feel progress and successful with it. And I would definitely like use my content again if I, run another one next month or whatever. So I'm just happy that I'm doing it and that I had people interested.
Like in her group, because I'm in yours and I'm in hers, and like I noticed, I haven't checked around in yours, but I noticed in hers there's just like engagement and people psyched off the hook, and I'm just like, what am I missing here?
I think it's your excitement,
That's
I'm being honest. Like,
all right.
Brit's energy fires me up right now. I'm trying to match her energy and her effort, and I feel like I was almost like scared to do the new coach tryout because I was so focused on like the negative outcome, like, well, what if no one joins, or what if they don't engage? And so I'm kind of thinking of my coach tryout as like, I don't know, like a warm-up round. But the conversations I'm having behind the scenes are good. I think the people are just really shy and intimidated, for sure.
I mean, sorry.
I was thinking about not maybe running something so formal, but sharing more information on Instagram, either in like reels or like really quick little things about coaching the business. As I'm like, how can I work more fun, like business?
Reels is a great idea because that's like fun and challenging,
Yeah, or I really like the IGTV, just sharing like on one topic, like one objection or one common question or one thing that people are curious about, and then just keep adding to that, because I'm like, I really need to like physically talk about it more, but I don't know if I need to necessarily put everybody in a group and then just like sit there and talk for an hour.
Right. I'm gonna do a bod group too, because I feel like again, I'm thinking of like long-term vision of
bod group for coaching,
like for a coach tryout, because not everyone will engage in a Facebook group, but I feel like in a new platform where like if I added those 6 people, none of them have been in a bod group before, most likely. And so it's like kind of new to them. And when I did the New Coach University with my new coaches in October, it was so good to have those newbie coaches on the platform that they would potentially be using, so they can kind of get a feel for it and play with it. And then I can add them to my virtual wellness studio. So it's basically the same. Like, this is where we work out. This is where we learn about coaching. So I was also thinking about playing around with that.
Yeah,
me and I were doing bod group for coach training not too long ago, and then she really took off with it. And I think it worked really well for her and her team to do the monitor, because then you can actually like see who's showing up and then engage with them one-on-one,
Yeah.
And like you said, new platform, so new excitement. Go ahead, Janelle. Sorry.
No, you're good. Me and Marina were kind of playing around with that idea. Like, do we run the free group like on Facebook, or do we try to move it to like bod to like, just try it out and see what happens and see how people are with, tracking and just logging in that one spot to go outside of social media. We ultimately decided to do it on Facebook just for like the live features, so we could be live together. But I think it's smart to explore, like Colleen said. This is the first one that you've done like this coach tryout on Facebook, right, Colleen?
Yeah, I haven't. I basically took my behind the scenes into coaching group that did really well last year, that still had a couple stragglers that haven't joined me yet. That group was awesome. And I basically just changed the name because I did have some other posts and content in there that I was going to use anyway. So, but yes, coach tryout in terms of that branding is the first time.
Are you going to continue every month to reuse this group, or are you going to space it out?
I am going to keep the group and just remove the content and keep refreshing it, because I feel like I'm the type of person I'm sorry?
Every month?
I'm going to do it once a month. I feel like that's something I can commit to and handle.
Okay.
And I also want to say, no, this is not a Red Bull for those of you asking. It's a Euromilk. I never liked these drinks until I found the orange one, and at the store today it was calling my name. So, what was I going to say? Oh, the other thing I was going to say is the challenge for the new coach tryout. I've always done coach info groups or sneak peeks with other coaches, and I think it's awesome. But if you're kind of stepping into a leadership role, it was a really good challenge, even for me, to show who I am and how I coach and how I mentor. And it was also less stressful for me to have to worry and organize with anyone else. So if you have enough confidence to lead your own like coach tryout or what is coaching group, you can totally take one of the outlines that we have and make it your own. It's actually been really fun because I just got to be like, oh, I'm going to make this post and I'm just going to go do this. And I didn't have to like, I think collabing is good, but sometimes if that bogs you down, it's easier to just kind of try it and fail forward on your own. And you can have like guest speakers come in and stuff. And it's really given people a chance to see who I am as their coach too.
I like that. I used to run them all the time with different people too, and we would kind of overlap on who's person. Like, oh, are you working with them or I'm working with them? Because now they're talking to me. Oh, they're talking to you, and it was a little bit confusing. So it was kind of cool to think of just having one consistent, ongoing group that's my own.
Yeah, it really gave me some ownership. Like I knew that every day I was responsible for it. It's really just kind of made me sink my teeth in, and it feels good. So, and side note, Amanda said, Candace, your reels are always on my explore feed. Last night, Candace, 2 of your reels, 2, like one at the top, one right underneath it were, so keep doing your reels because they're showing up on the explore feed.
I am so annoyed with reels, you guys. I'm like, I don't even know how to use these, and they take me for fucking ever to make.
Me
so
too.
I'm
Me too.
I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm like, how can this like serve me? And I'm like, you know what, I need accountability to do my workouts. So I'm just going to do that, even though it's like lame, whatever. I'm just going to do it. And they keep like, people are like, oh, I love that. I'm like, do you really though?
Yeah.
I think it's so fun. It shows
Yeah,
your
for
personality.
eyeballs. It is.
I just posted 2 back to back last night because I forgot to. So that's probably why you saw 2 in a row. I was like, I don't even care. Just get out there.
Before I forget, squirrel brain, because I know we were talking about free groups. Underneath that post that I made about Kate Schultz, I shared one of the best trainings from like an outside Beachbody mentor that came in and did a training on free groups and how to like sit down and brainstorm or questions to ask, like what kind of group do you run? That call was awesome. And then I also have like, I was just pulling up notes from that because sometimes I feel like I sit down and I'm like, okay, if I don't want to run a free group just to run a free group, it needs to be something that fills me up, that I'm passionate about, that I'm good about, because if you're promoting something that you're not excited about, it's like, it's not authentic, you know what I mean? And people just see through that. So if you feel like you need help with coming up with an idea for a free group, I think that call was awesome. And so I even went back myself and thought about it. So today I was like, I don't know how the coffee chat will go today. Sometimes we don't have anything to say. So if we didn't, I was actually going to brain dump some free group content. I've just been seeing so much of people talking about free groups, and that's what they're inviting to. And that's how people are growing their business right now. That is in February 2021 where it's at. So I know,
So,
like,
can I ask something before I forget about free groups? So when you're speaking of free groups, in my head, like I get all these ideas that have literally nothing to do with anything, but they make me excited. So say for example, I'm like, well, I'm super into like beading right now. What if I wanted to have a free group and teach people like how to make a bracelet? Like, does it have to be something that like, how does it have to be relevant to like weave it into Beachbody and coaching? So at the end of the group, you're like, and now sign up. You know, like, is that what the point of this is? Or are we just like getting ourselves out there and being like, this is fun, do it with me, I'm also a coach?
So there's
Like,
a lot of different like ways you can go about it, but for a beading one, for example, this is all about new connections, making new friends, and building your network. So
okay,
that's
so
kind of,
that's the answer. That's the point I needed. I'm like, what is the point of this?
yeah,
So
Building a network, new connections,
have
getting
fun.
ourselves out there. So
Yeah.
this is connecting. Free group point of that is connecting. It doesn't have to be like at the end you get 10 signups.
Right. And then there's some, I mean, I feel like you get to choose what you do, right? So if you want to do the beading one and you're like, oh, like this free group really filled me up. And like for me, I still love helping people try Beachbody simple workouts. I still love helping them like figure out a meal plan or whatever. But then there's also like the mindset aspect that I love, you know what I mean? So I feel like if you do a beading group, it's just going to be for that attract, connect portion. And then maybe you, if you decided to, not directly to you, Candace, but just everyone as a whole, if you guys decide that you want to do like a free 7-day group and you guys try 7 Beachbody workouts, everyone practices checking in, you give them a meal plan, and then they get a feel for your virtual community. You know what I mean? Like there's so many ways that you can go about, when you think about attract, connect, and invite, AKA grow your business, there's so many different pathways that you can go, and you guys get to choose.
I think like with the free group, you can almost focus it around whatever makes you joyful and filling your cup up, and like wrapping it around, like I'm just looking at Jenny right now. She could do like, or Erin, you know, like a hooping group or something of that sort that is like your tribe, like you with the beading. But you can also, because what me and Marina were doing is like, it's outside of Beachbody, but all of our self-love and self-care and making mindful, joyful moments started through fitness, foods, like you were talking about yesterday, Candace, on your story. Like it all started with the fitness, the food, the accountability. And so we are gonna be talking about one day, this is what we do, like this is how we got started, and these are the programs that we use, because I feel like a lot of us really wouldn't have, you don't really find your joyfulness unless you're feeling good, you know? So it's like beading is something that's joyful for you. And it kind of started with self-care, self-love, making you a priority. So you can,
You're right.
we're only doing it one day, you know what I mean? Just like one post about self-care and almost like bookending your days to fill you up first, because filling you up then empowers you to go do your beads or your design
you're
work.
Right. You're absolutely right. Because if I hadn't been doing coaching, for one, I wouldn't even know that that's something that like I wouldn't feel confident in pursuing that type of thing.
Even confidence.
Down on like all of that. So you're absolutely right. That's definitely how it intertwines, and that makes a lot of sense, because I was like, how do you bridge the gap? Like, here's the bracelet, sign up.
Yeah, I remember Colleen. It was Colleen's years ago. I don't remember, when I was doing a free group on gratitude. I was like, I don't really know how to like, now what? Like, how do I integrate this gratitude? And Colleen was like, on day 3 or 5 or something, talk about what you do and how you started and what changed your life. And it's not like we're forcing it down people's throats. It's like, this is what we've done. This is what works for us. The opportunity is there. And we're not saying it's this way or the only way, but it's like, this is how we found all of our good feels that allowed us to follow our passions and diving into these joyful things.
I think the question that will help us kind of navigate, because there's like 1,000 ways we can go, right? From, at least this is how my brain thinks, is where are you at on your coaching journey? Let's say you signed up last month. Most of you probably, maybe, I could be wrong, wouldn't go do a free group on something random for you, because you're trying to get your first 3 people started. You're trying to get people to come try a workout with you. For a brand new coach, a 5-day, you know, clean week group, or hey, come try my meal plan, or I'll come share my story and how I meal prep for 2 days. Like that might work for a new coach, but for someone that's been doing this a year, 2 years, 10 years, whatever, I feel like we're at different levels of what free groups can mean. And at the end of the day, it's all network building, you know what I mean? Because you're adding people to a potential list that are going to fall in love with you as a person, as a human, like we talked about on Wisdom Wednesdays last week. They have to fall in love with you as a human first. That has nothing to do with health and fitness. And then along the way, when they need to work out or eat healthy or need a little pick-me-up, at some point in every single person's life, they will need you as their coach. It might not be today, it might not be 5 years from now, but at some point, if you do a good job, they will need you. And I feel like, you know, there's people that sign up with me all the time that have been watching me from day one, but they didn't need me then, but they did a free group, or they looked at my coach tryout like 10 years ago, you know? So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. You just have to figure out what's going to work for you at your stage right now. And also, why are you doing it? Like Candace wants to grow her network, have some fun, new connections, it brings her joy, you know? And I feel like a lot of us are at that point where we just are like, I don't want this to be like boring and mundane. But if you feel like, okay, I'm trying to hit some Success Club numbers and I'm trying to help some people and people just are not biting, it's a great way to do like some free workouts and stuff.
Can I say something really fast?
Of
So-
course.
Candace said, I'm trying to figure out how to bridge the gap. And that just reminded me of what I learned as a new coach, which was exactly that, how to bridge that gap with telling your story and intertwining like coaching or what we do with our fitness. And I think that that's what has been so helpful for me is I give a lot of value that has to do with like my life, but I also share my story relentlessly on my timeline and my social media and bridge the gap, not necessarily in my free groups, but on my social media. And so that's where we're having the conversations is like you said, people are falling in love with me as a person through the free groups and through our community. And then they're following my story as I'm sharing it through my stories and on my newsfeed. And that's where I'm bridging the gap is I'm sharing like who I am and what I love, which is coaching and the fitness aspect of like everything, personal development, like the whole thing that Beachbody offers. And so then that's when people are going into my comments and saying like, well, what do you do? You know? So I just wanted to say that because I think it's so important. That's our superpower. Like you taught me that, Candace, was how to bridge that gap with telling your story and with intertwining like why coaching and Beachbody is so important to you. And so I think if we can master that skill, that's where the gap is filled. It's like not necessarily in our free groups, but in our stories and on our news feed. That's just what has worked for me. So
no, you're absolutely right. And you know what's crazy to me is that even though like I like sponsored like you're one of my coaches, it's like we constantly are going back and forth and learning things from people. So it like really doesn't matter how long you've been a coach or if you just started or if you've been doing it forever. It's like we're constantly learning. And I literally knew everything that Haley said because she said, that's what I told her. And I needed to hear it again. And now I'm taking notes on what I taught her that she's reteaching me that I needed to hear. And I just had a light bulb go off. And it's like, it's so ridiculous, but it's so awesome. Like, I just literally needed to hear that. And like, I taught her that. So like, that's kind of silly, but it's awesome. I literally just had a light bulb of like realizing, like I just said last week, how all the platforms and all the different reels and this and that and this, they're all used for like different things and they're not all the same. And I'm still trying to do that thing where I'm trying to put the square piece and circle hole, like trying to shove it and it's just not working. So I loved what you said about using, your groups just to attract the people. Like you don't have to do all the things on every single thing. Like I don't have to check every box on my timeline. I don't have to check every single box in the reels. I don't have to check every single box to make sure I'm doing them in the free groups. It's about doing all the things and all those moving pieces work together. And that's what builds the relationship and gets, not gets people, I don't like that word, but like attracts people. And it helps us deliver our stories on like a beautiful silver platter that are like really easy to digest. That could potentially change someone's life.
One of the things that I think of is, and I was trying to this whole time think of there's like a term or a phrase for what this is. Kim Carver taught it to me. And it's the experience that someone has when we say, hey, I can help you get fit, or hey, I can help you change your life, or hey, I can help you change your habits. When they join us, do they get that experience? And I feel like groups gives people a chance to really bridge, I guess when Haley said bridge that gap, like the group and our social media is the chance for in stories, talking on your stories, people, we have to talk on our stories. Talking on our stories is really where people get to see, are we who we are putting ourselves out there to be? And the group is just like your chance to be like, hey, I'm not just trying to sign you up. This is actually what I do. This is part of my lifestyle. This is part of my mission. Because there's been a million times that I've been to Summit every year since I've been a coach, where I meet a coach on social media and then I meet them in person, and that is not the person that they are putting themselves out there. And so the moment you get in a group with someone, it's like, oh, okay, this is really what they're about. And it seals the deal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Shivering.
I'm sweating balls because I have to speak. Every time I have to speak, I'm like,
Me too, dude. And I'm eating soup. I'm like, I'm gonna need to change. I'm gonna sweat myself out before I even work out.
that's how I feel. But no, I really, really, really love what Haley said. I don't know why you guys, like, I got lost a little bit, but like I used to be the boss at sharing my story relentlessly, like Haley is right now. Like I just did it, and now I'm like, I got weird about it, and I don't know why. Just got weird about it, and there's like absolutely no reason. So the answer is to go back to that. I got weird about it.
I think we all hit seasons where it's like we tell our story so much, or we're becoming someone new. And Delgado taught me that. She's like, you're reinventing your business habits, your social media. Like, these seasons are difficult and challenging. And I feel like it's why being clear on why we do what we do. And you'll have to, decide why you're doing what you're doing all the time. You redecide. The reason I started 7.5 years ago, it's a lot different why I do what I do now.
Absolutely.
How do you get people to participate in groups, both challenge and free? The $1 million question. It takes a lot of time and consistency, and that's why personally for me, this is just my business tip. That's why I do the virtual wellness studio with all of you ladies, because if I was to do my own group and you did your own group, it's so hard to find lifers who are going to show up and check in. And so when we're all, like the compound effect, when we're all bringing people together in a community, we're more likely to find like that 1, 2, 3 people that continuously show up. And so I feel like you just really have to bring in coaches who have the same amount of energy that you do, whether it's 1 coach or 2 coaches, and just keep showing up consistently, because it's hard. And you also have to figure out what your people like. And that changes a lot too. Like, some people don't want to comment on a post. Some people want to just do their workout and check in. It's a lot of practice and failing forward. I wish I had like a better answer, to be honest, but I feel like Sarah, your energy is so good in the challenge groups. The moment that you find a couple yous who want to show up with you, and that's what you need to say in your posts. That's what you need to say in your stories. That's what you need to say in your conversations when you're signing them up, because whatever you are asking them to do, that's their expectation. And so when I sign people up, I'm like, the goal is for me to see you checking in, because that's how I know as your coach that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm happy, you're getting results, okay? And that's kind of how I've been able to help groom people. But the free group stuff has to be really exciting for whoever you're bringing in. You know what I mean? And if you're doing like a free group on workouts, just make it easy as far as like how they check in, and it's just grooming their habits and helping them show up. I don't know why it's so hard for people to check into a group. I mean, we do it for a living, but I'm like,
maybe, well, from what I've found for me personally and coaches even, it's just the simple fact that they don't remember. And so like BOD gives us that option to set an alarm. Maybe that can be one of our first things that we talk about in our free groups, is how to remember to check in every day, and like give examples of like setting a little alarm on your phone or something. I truly think it's just that. It's just it's new, and it's not habit. It's not normal for them to have to go to groups like it is for us all the time as coaches. So maybe they just need like a little, do you work well with Post-it notes? Put one on the fridge. Do you need an alarm on your phone to remind you at noon to check into the group? Like, whatever it is, we can't rely on our brains to remember everything. It's just not realistic, like we get busy, and especially if people have kids, it's like then all hell breaks loose, and like, 3 weeks go by and you're like, oh, what about that one group I was in?
I honestly started telling my girls that after you're done your workout and you're dying and you're sitting there taking off your sweaty clothes, sit down on your phone and check in, because that's what I have to do. As soon as I'm done that workout, I don't think about my workout or anything fitness related for the whole next day, So it's like, I've had to really help myself and my girls try to sit down and like, as you're recovering, taking off your shoes, changing, check in then.
I like that.
Because when you say like, oh, I'll check in later, then it's like by the end of the day, no one's checked in. And it's just like, I feel like as coaches, if you do morning workouts, it just like kicks off the whole group. I love when the East Coast girls check in before me because it kicks off the group. Lauren just said something really helpful and I think a good topic that we can chat about. So Lauren, for those watching the recording, I'm recording, right? Yeah. She started out with wanting to get out of a bad relationship. She worked on her mental health. Now she's in a better relationship over the last 2 years. So she doesn't want to share her old story because it's not who you are. So I'm trying to find my new push for who I am and my why again.
That's exactly what I relate to, is I kept recycling my old posts. And then I was like, I don't even relate to this in a way anymore. And so I got kind of lost on how to like reconfigure the words for like, and I was like, now what?
Here's what my brain thinks, because I feel like I've been through probably 5 really good transitional seasons between who I've become, between wife, mom, I don't even know what to title my last season as, shitstorm, just all the things, right? I feel like no matter what, at the end of the day, whenever you're regenerating or recreating, reinventing, share what you're doing. Meaning, I changed this. Here's my habit. Here's what I have to do. Here's my routine. Here's my mindset. Like, think of all the tools that you whip out all day long to create the new you and help someone else realize that it all comes down to making changes. That's just how I think. Maybe that's not how you guys relate to this, but anytime that you're going through a new change, the moment you stand back up and say, okay, here's where I'm going, that's the part that people need to know. They need to know, how do I, quote unquote, I hate this, get motivated to make a change? Like, where do I even look? What do I follow? And you get to share what you did in all those new seasons. You don't have to necessarily I don't talk about the old Colleen 7.5 years ago necessarily. The only time I really do is if I'm talking about like the partying or the drinking that I used to do. But again, I don't even really talk about that anymore because that's not me. So anytime like in this season, I'm talking about just today, I sat down, dropped my kid off at school. I put my podcast on. I did my 15 minutes of personal development. Here's what I learned today. Here's what I'm planning to do today. And you get to just consistently share with people like your habits and what you're doing and new hobbies, new fun. Here's why I did it. You know, you are a catalyst for change in people's lives. You're the stepping stone. Beachbody, the programs, the products, it's just a tool and a resource to help them.
And can I share something too? For anyone that, I don't know, I know there's a lot of newer coaches on here, but there also is a lot of us that have been here for a while. If anyone needs to hear this, I feel like a lot of the time for me figuring out my thoughts, like brain dumping works, but for me, I need an outsider to kind of help me untangle the mess. So personally, I have reached out to Colleen, obviously, to go over my thoughts and have her help me untangle them. So with that being said, don't hesitate to reach out to your coach if you're like, hey, I have all these thoughts and I don't really know where to start. And I just kind of need to tell you, and maybe you can help me identify like what direction to go in. Because it's really helpful just to hear someone else like lay out what you're like, oh, that's not complicated at all. Because, you know, we always need like that outsider, like opinion or view, someone that we trust, of course. And I also reached out to 3 different business coaches that I like the way that they coach. And that's an investment. That's something that I'm going to pay for sessions to meet with them and discuss, okay, here's where I'm at in my business. Here's where I want to change my mindset. Here's what I want to do. Help me uncover all these things. So maybe someone that's been doing this for a while, like if you haven't ever invested in, you know, being coached on another level, or maybe it's like a therapist or something like that you need, like, don't be afraid, whatever it is that you need to get help. If you need to help untangle the mess of what's going on in your head, do it. You know, do it. It's an investment in you. And every time we invest in ourselves and our personal development, especially in our mindset, it pays us back like so huge, you know, like we feel so good. And it also feels good to be heard, and it feels good to be understood by someone who's qualified to understand and kind of help us go through that. So that's just where I am. And I think that, you know, it's something that a lot of people could benefit from. Like sometimes it's a mess in there and I just need to dump it, and I need someone to be like, okay, well, I just heard you say X, Y, and Z. So it seems like to me, this is what you are doing. And I'm like, oh, I just had to say it. And then they just had to like help me decipher what it was I was even trying to do. So yeah. Read the chat.
I was reading what Lauren said. Why are they saying F off? They should be cheering you on, and a single person that's not happy for you. I don't know. I think that you have to show up fully as you first, like don't worry about like, oh, getting new client. I feel like there's this process and time period that happens, and it's different for everyone. Like I see some new coaches like Alexis Veal, I think is how you say your last name. She showed up and she knew who she wanted to be. She did not give a hoot about anything, and she showed up fully, got results, crushed it, signing people up. But some people have to learn the journey first of showing up fully, authentically, consistently as themselves, and then they begin the attracting new clients process. Then they start building their network, And even for myself, feeling like super unconfident this past year, just like a lot of, like I got broken down, and now I'm building myself back up, and I can already see the momentum and the energy that I'm attracting into my life. So I think you just got to do your thing, girl.
Can you hear me? Is this working?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I guess like my biggest problem is that like, even with like my family and all my friends on Facebook and stuff that like I went to high school with, grew up with, I have always been in good shape. Like I played field hockey in high school, and everybody made fun of my arms because they were in shape. They're like, oh, you have Barbie arms, must be nice. And like I get, my body transforms very easily, very fast. I don't have this like crazy transformation. So like, I don't know, like I'm always kind of struggling with feeling like I don't have a transformation physically to show people. And then I like kind of was like working on my mental health for so long, but I just don't always feel like harping into like breaking down my mental health things sometimes, because I don't always feel like that's my avenue of sharing myself with people, because that's not just me. And I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of just trying to explore other things, because I don't have this crazy weight loss journey. I was in a shitty relationship for a long time, but I'm not anymore. And I'm just trying to figure out trying to like show people like, hey, I've been doing this for almost 4 years. Look at what I've done. People are like, great, you almost had a six-pack when you started and you still almost do. Get out of here. You're not going to help me. And like my friends that I try to encourage from my childhood that, still watch me, they're all just like, Lauren, I don't have that kind of lifestyle. I have 4 kids. I have a full-time job, all these things. And it's literally been the biggest hurdle of mine for years, because I don't have this crazy physical transformation. And I'm so sick of beating the mental health like drum that like for me, I don't feel the need to share all of my crazy lows that I've gone through, because sometimes like bringing up that old stuff isn't fun for me. And like, it's just not me anymore. So I just don't really know. I don't know. I'm like trying to just like wade through the new me, which I don't know who that is either, but I don't know. Like, I don't know who to share or what to share, because I am so not the person that I used to be, but I also don't have a crazy weight loss journey. So I don't know.
All valid.
Just showing up every day is just like, all right, well, I'm not drinking now, so maybe that'll be my new avenue. I don't know.
Okay, I just typed this out, but I want to say it out loud. Share about what you went through in your shitty relationship and how you left and how much more empowered you feel. And share about how Beachbody has empowered you to live a better life. Basically, like, and then with like quitting drinking, that's huge. Like people drink, society drinks, and like you quit and I quit. I quit 2 years ago, and like it's been the best decision I've ever made in my life. But like share about that too, like share about how much better you feel now that you're sober, and like what you've struggled with and like talk about
I
stuff.
might drink again though. That's my thing. It's like I still really do like beer a lot. I'm just kind of on like a break right now, and I'm in a great relationship. So my great relationship guy doesn't want to hear about me bringing up the 9-year relationship that I was in, since we've been in a great relationship for so long. So I'm
Block
just
him.
trying to like,
You don't need to go like into detail about it. Like you just share like bits and pieces of like what you went through and what you struggled through, and then like I don't know, like write about how like much better your life is now that you're with this new man, you know, like I don't know.
You know,
true.
something that comes to my mind is you re-evaluating who you're even speaking to and who your market is. Because for one, it's not your man. For two, it's not your family. And for three, it's not your childhood friends. It's the Lauren, it's the Lauren
My
that you
childhood
are.
friends need help.
Yeah, who cares, dude? Like, I mean, when I started, none of my friends wanted to join me. None of my family wanted to join me. Everyone that I knew told me to get a real job. And I was like, fuck all y'all. Like,
Same.
and I went off and I just started deciding I'm speaking to the Candaces out there. And they're definitely not in my immediate circle. So I had to like reevaluate my entire life and get rid of all these people who didn't want more in life because I wanted more. So if I hung out with all these people who don't, like, that's just going to bring me down. So I think it's important for you to think about who you're even talking to, because those people aren't your market. So it doesn't matter what their opinions are. And if they don't want to hear it, they don't have to be on your page, or you can like remove them from it. Like, that's easy. Like, I've did that with friends and family. It's not a big deal. This is my business. Like, you're not entitled to be on my Facebook just because you know me. Like, it's a business. Like, come on. So
I
I just,
you
I
said
don't know,
that
like,
too, Candace. Like your
yeah,
page is your business, so like get up out my business.
yeah. And if you don't want someone's life result, like, stop caring about their opinions. Like, if like I care about Colleen's opinion because I want the results that she's getting. Do I care about my mom's opinion on my business? No, because I don't want the result that she had. I don't want the job she had. I don't want that life. You know, no shame to her. I love her. She got me here, you know, like she made me. But it doesn't mean I have to listen to what she says. I don't want what she has. So it's like very easy to be like, okay, cool, thanks, bye. Like, I don't take it personally. They don't get it. They don't know. They're not doing it, you know?
Lauren, the best thing I think of, like when I go to your profile, first of all, the name of your profile is Love Life Marlack. So you love life and you've changed your life and you're a fun haver, you're a life lover, you're a dream chaser, you're a dog mom. So show people that you're doing that. Just showcase your life, the adventures, the freedom, the new mindsets. Like, I think you could kind of have to fail forward with it and don't overanalyze it. People are attracted to, not your friends, not your family, everything Candace just said. The new people will find you because you have that magnetic energy and a good relationship and all those things. And eventually they're going to come to you and say, hey, how did you do this? But you just have to, like, you know, keep sharing what you're doing to create that fun haver, life lover, dream chaser life.
I get that. I get the idea of how you may feel like you have to go like deep every day. And I don't think that's the case. You know, I think maybe it feels overwhelming because you're like, oh my God, I have to beat that mental health drum like every day, or beat that sobriety drum like every day. It's just little parts of your story that you touch on. And then the rest of it's like, oh my God, I went windsurfing today for the first time. Like, remember, I don't even think I saw a picture of that. And I don't think I read a post, and I was like waiting because you told us about it on the call. And then like, I never heard about
Me
it.
too.
It was lake surfing and my dude bitched out on me.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you went, I was like, what the man? But that's just an example, you know, like that's something you were stoked about. So like something like that, like, oh, this hike.
That's why
you
I
know?
followed up with the roller skating like a couple days after with
Oh,
that,
see,
because
I
I was
love
like,
that.
oh, I didn't do that.
That was one of my favorites. I love seeing that roller skating and just seeing you like embrace this like new avenue of you. I was very attracted to that. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, so serious every single day, you know what I mean? And then you can sneak in like with your rollerblading, and I feel really empowered to like be free and embrace this side of myself, because through coaching, you know, personal development is a requirement, and it's really opened up that door for me. And then drop it there. You know, you don't have to be like, and then beach body, and then I drink it. You know what I mean? Like, you just leave little hints here and there of like, so I think I have like a template on how to write a post, and it literally is just brain dumping your entire day and then going back and looking at it and being like, okay, now how can I like organically and naturally, to where it's not awkward, work coaching or something in here? And then I could literally put, because of personal development, and that tells people, oh, well, that's part of her job. Interesting. And she's rollerblading. Rollerblading is part of her job. That's interesting. What is that? What do you do? And then it starts a question or a conversation. You know what I mean?
I think
Sorry.
last week's Wisdom Wednesday would help you a lot too in that post template. Candace, maybe you can post that in Dreamcourt for us.
Yeah,
I think it's been a while since I've even seen it myself.
When
But-
the Energize kicks in, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you how to write a 10-page post.
I think like focusing on attracting new people who are not friends, who people that you don't know will fill your cup. Because the moment that you find someone that's, oh my God, I just started rollerblading again too. Oh, I just went lake surfing too. That's the moment that the spark happens, you know? But you'll have to focus on growing your network. Meeting
Can
new
I
people.
say something too, Lauren? To you,
course.
Lauren? So when you said like you got out of a 9-year relationship and now you're in a much better, healthier relationship, I can relate to that a lot. I was in a pretty toxic, like codependent relationship for 7 years. Now I'm married. And I really, in the beginning of my new relationship, had to be clear with my then boyfriend. Like, so he already knew, like he knew my job was to share on social media. And like one thing he said was like, when we first got together, you were like speaking the PD and the mindset stuff, but like now you're like actually living it. And I think people can feel that. So my suggestion, because it still comes up to this day, like just be you. Don't worry about what your boyfriend's gonna say or think, like, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you are holding back for him, you will begin to resent him. And I came upon that because you can see behind me, I have this pull up and I have 2 kids. And my husband was like weird about it at first, like, why are you gonna have it up in the house? Like, what about Latham? And I'm just like, bro, it makes me happy. And at first, for like one day, I felt offended and I took it down and I was being all bitter about it. And then I was like, fuck that. That shit makes me so happy. So like, I don't really care. If you want to feel like that, that's on you. But this brings me joy. And like, I can't tell you how much better. And I just feel like he respects me more because I'm so solid in what I love and what I'm doing. And I don't have shame around it. And I'm able to share that now on social media without any shame. And like, he supports it. And he's even like, I don't know, it's cute because now my kids like to do it. And like, whereas before he'd be like, oh, like take that down, Latham's coming home. And it's like, no, she last night was like, hey dad, look at the new move mama showed me. Like, and I just think that you really have to be okay with not pleasing anybody else, even your significant other, because at the end of the day, you have your back. And if you don't have your back, and if you don't fully believe in what you love and what brings you joy, like people are going to feel that. Your boyfriend, your friends, your new followers, like you have to be so solid in what you love and what brings you joy. No fucks given. Like not disrespectful, but just like, hey, I have no shame. This is what I'm going to do, you know? So that's it.
I love you. And I love that. It's so true. Like I used to be so afraid to do things that I loved in front of like Cody or whatever. And then I was just like, and then like you said, it gets weird and you almost like resent them. And that's not healthy, you know, and it's not like their fault. They don't know. But I love that. I love that. I hope that Lauren took that.
I think we all needed it, right? It's kind of like taking pictures for a business. Oh, what's people going to think? Lauren, you said that last week too, or the week before or whatever. Like you kind of have to get to this point in our life as grown adults where we're like doing the shit that makes us happy and like, just like fully being ourselves. And we hear that's so cliche, right? Like go be yourself. But what does that really mean to us? And that's what attracts people to us. That's what makes us feel good. if you guys go listen to that podcast that Brendan talked about, he talks about congruence, which is such a big, fancy, ugly business word. But it's like, we say we want to go be this life lover, dream chaser person, but yet, oh, but I can't do this. Oh, but what about this? Oh, what about this? When we get to that point of fully being who we want to be, because we say, I want to be this person, are our actions lining up with it? He said that that's where misery comes from. We say we want to be healthy, but you drank 5 days this week. Or we say that we want to lose the weight, but you bought the packs of Oreos every day that you went food shopping, or whatever the reason is, you know? And I feel like the moment we give ourselves permission, Amy Silverman did that for me, permission to go do the things we want to do because we want to, ooh, that's the day that we learn something powerful, because then we give other people permission to go do what they want to do.
I remember, or this post came up on my thing that I posted a long time ago, but it was, you don't have to be outstanding to stand out. You just have to be you. And like, you will slowly, but very, very surely attract people like you who have goals like how you do. So just remember that.
I want to add something too.
That just hit me so hard. Sorry, but that like.
I know, I was gonna say, can you say that one more time, like for the people in the back? Because I need to hear that one more time.
I said, you don't have to be outstanding to stand out. Just be you.
Go ahead, Erin.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, I was just going to say, because I can totally relate. Like, I started off super skinny. I feel like I wasn't ripped and strong like you, Lauren, but I did start out super small and without any weight to lose and a lot of weight that I wanted to gain. But for that reason, I definitely, as a new coach, was like, I'm not going to have a physical transformation. How is this going to work? So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. And two things, I think one piece is, when we look at our before and after photos or our progress photos, I feel like maybe it's not like this physical difference, but like there is a difference. And that's one thing for me. My gain, like, thank you, Janelle. Yeah. So if I hadn't taken all these photos, I wouldn't ever think I'd made progress. So sometimes it's like just giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt to say, progress is progress, baby. It's okay if my progress doesn't look like other people's, but it's still worth celebrating. And then that's the other thing is like, your results are insane. Whether you started with them or first achieved them through Beachbody, the fact that you've maintained them through Beachbody says a lot. And like, that's one thing I would have no shame about sharing, that being like, it's no secret that I freaking started off in shape, you guys. I'm not trying to act like I used to be a couch potato and now here I am, look at me. But I didn't stay looking like this however many years past high school or throughout, you know, ups and downs in life by not taking care of myself. So enter Beachbody as the vehicle that has helped you to have the progress you have, even though that progress might not equal physical. And then hold on, because I have notes and I want to make sure that I don't forget the other thing I was going to say. Because my brain works like that. Oh, and that was the other thing I was going to say is, so remind yourself that you do have probably non-scale victories, or maybe you want to have some non-scale victories. And so you can always share about where you're going and the fact that you're using this opportunity to take you there. And just maybe this doesn't particularly relate to you, but any other maybe newer coaches who are listening, when we first are sharing our progress photos and we're like, but there's not really a difference. I think it's so important to still share with such confidence and say, I have zero shame or zero embarrassment or fear about sharing these, because I know beyond any doubt, like, I'm going to have a transformation. So it feels exciting to share these photos with you, even if there's this lack of impressive progress, because I believe that this is going to, like, it's going to work. So you guys can watch and you guys can laugh now and fucking thank me later when you realize that this shit works too, you know? So just kind of having that attitude about it. Like, you don't need to impress anybody this red hot minute, but if you know you're doing you, that's still worth like sharing, and people will still probably be inspired by that too.
You know who else will be inspired by that when you show up fully as you, is yourself, you know? Like everything Erin just said, I'm like, yep. It's like, sometimes I feel like we're trying to like show our friends or our boyfriend or whoever, look at my transformation, but kind of like we got to show ourselves, I feel like, first. That should feel
I
good.
feel like whenever I had like what Erin is saying, because I kind of was like, smaller in the beginning because I, started at like a plateau, and I told Colleen, oh my God, I'm afraid to share my results because there's not a change. And one thing that really helped me was like, I felt like it held me back from posting because I was afraid that someone was going to say that one thing. So I just said the thing in my post because I'm like, oh, it might look like I don't have any results, but let me tell you, it's not always about blah, blah, blah. So I would just add in the one thing that I was afraid that everyone was going to point out. I would just point it out first, like Erin said, and then just have no shame around it. And that made me feel so much better because then I wasn't like, I didn't post it and then walk away and like, they're gonna say I didn't do any, because I already called it out. And that just made me feel better. I don't know why. It's just like, I guess it goes back to that spiel we heard about shining the light on the they call them the gremlins or whatever, and like they can't survive in the light. So if you put the light on it, you're like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't have any power anymore because I've already put it in the light. So hopefully that makes sense, because it just makes me feel a lot better when I just call it out and say what it is that I'm actually like worried about. I feel like I'm being transparent, and I'm not trying, when I don't call it out, I feel like I'm trying to pretend like it's not there and it's not happening, which is so awkward, like when I did a program and I like literally just maintained and I was like, oh, this sucks. And I had like a weird mindset. And then I go back to what Erin said, well, maintaining is huge too, because you don't get that from sitting on your butt doing nothing, So we really just have to like reframe our mindset around that and then just say how we feel, like be vulnerable, say how you feel. So I was feeling like uncomfortable sharing this because I was afraid someone was going to say X, Y, and Z. But then I realized, because I do personal development as a coach, that this is how it really is, Know what I'm saying?
I love
No,
that. One other thing I like to say of my progress photos, because like a lot of times my progress photos, it's like, I'm not hating on my before body. And regardless of where your before body started, there's no reason to ever have any shame about that, right? But it's like a lot of times when you start off in good shape, you're like, I'm not trying to say, ew, look at me before, and oh, wow, look at me now. It's not about that, So just like a lot of times I'll preface my progress photos by saying something like, these are both pictures of a girl who's just learning to love herself a little more. Like, it's not like before I was just like hating every aspect of life. And that might be true for some coaches. If it's not true for you, that's okay too. And you can just own that. And that's a part of your story. And some people who relate, they'll relate to that. And it's like the whole thing we always go back to is like not trying to just speak to everyone. So it sounds like there's probably for a lot of us on this call, a lot of like reevaluating to be like, who am I now? And if I could help a part of me, what would that be represented and how would that be represented in other people? And then we can kind of start to see who our people are without trying to be like, my people are other hula hoopers, or my people are other skaters or whatever, it's like, it's not about putting ourselves in boxes, but more of like going back to those pain points and kind of drawing who we're speaking to from that. I don't know. That's kind of where my mind frame went.
All the yes. Let's just have 2-hour coffee chats. We could just keep going. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Erin, Kiana, Candace, Janelle. I forgot anyone? Jessica, sorry. Well, for recording purposes and timely matter, I will stop it there. But this is awesome. I love that you guys come to the table with stuff to share. It's always awkward in the beginning for me to kick it off, but I'm getting used to it. So if I know that Christy messaged me about Team Cup, but if there's other people, I'll make a post in the team page and hopefully we can grab a couple more people. We did real good. Thank you, everyone. I will put the recording up. Sometimes it takes a little bit to process, but thank you again. Bye, everyone. Happy birthday, Haley. See you later.
Happy birthday, Haley.